comic book gurus.
Carl Jung once wrote, "Show me a sane man and I will cure him for you." Well, for Oz Cobb of Max's The Penguin, that cure turned out to be a dysfunctional relationship with his mommy that makes Norman Bates and his mother look like Richie Cunningham and Mrs. C. In a dark DC universe full of Jokers, Riddlers, Banes, Scarecrows, and more, you really have to bring your A game to break from the pack now and then. And any viewer of The Penguin can tell you, we just witnessed some gold medal Simone Biles level psychopathy from one Oswald Cobb. But now the question is this Penguin officially the worst of the worst? And what's up next for this mommy loving maniac? So, as always, we turn to the comic book gurus, Craig Legons, Rockstar Rob, and Steph. Oh, and there's going to be crap loads of spoilers. Spoilers. I said spoilers. So, first to you, Rockstar Rob. You just watched the series. We haven't gotten a chance to get your take on it. Where do you stand? What did you think of the Penguin?
I loved it. I thought it was amazing.
Do you like this pocket right now? Do you like this brutal sort of approach to the characters?
Yeah, I think that's what needs to be done. Now, that does limit some characters. Like I was talking to Craig, like characters like Mr. Freeze, I wouldn't even know how they would take that and do this to that. I'm not saying it's impossible. I just don't know how they would do it.
Rob, in the series, The Penguin, it is a study in dysfunctional families. Oz and his mom, Sophia and Carmine Falcone, and on and on and on. What are some takeaways from the familial dynamics we witnessed in The Penguin?
Well, the Penguin's definitely a narcissistic character. That narcissism, it's a catalyst. He makes all these promises to his mother, right? We're gonna give you the world. You're gonna be up high. But the one thing she asked him to do was, if she gets bad, kill her. Yet he couldn't do that because he needed to be able to boast to her, even if she was like a vegetable. And you see her cry, and that's because he didn't honor what he said to her, because it's his world, not her world. And really, I don't know if he would have killed Vic unless he had said, "Your family." It's that
So you
family.
think he does make the point. He does say that, and it's the point that he makes when he is sitting with Vic, that the family is. He kind of indicates that it's something everyone would want, but he really ultimately sees it as a point of weakness.
Yes, vulnerable. They can use somebody else against you with that, and I think that's why when he locked his brothers up, he didn't go save them, because it was all about him, and that was competition, and he didn't want any competition. He wanted all the attention, and that goes to what happened in the mob. He wants to be the one.
All right, so I'm going to give you the first. You're first up at bat here, Rob. Give me where you believe this Oz Cobb, this Colin Oz Cobb hybrid fits in the DC villain, psychopathic, sociopathic villain realm.
I put him as 3. My number 1 is Heath Ledger's Joker, and my number 2 is Scarecrow. In all the Christopher Nolan movies, he's always there. So even though he was only ever a supporting character, I think they never tapped into the potential of him. And I think we're going to see that Dr. Rush is going to be either the Scarecrow or a connection to the Scarecrow. And he's scary.
They're kind of teeing him up for that. Craig, the Penguin took the character of Sophia, a character that we might have initially rooted against, and turned her into something wholly other. And you have an interesting take on Sophia Falcone. What is it?
My take on Sophia Falcone, and it has nothing to do with my intense, massive crush on Kristen Milioti. I firmly believe that Sophia Falcone is the only innocent in this entire series. People say, well, what about Vic? Vic was trying to steal Oz's rims when we first met him, so Vic had already chosen a life of crime. Sophia Falcone wasn't innocent. She just wanted to, live her life and, use daddy's dirty money to give to charity, like we saw in her backstory episode. She didn't want any of this. She didn't want to be a crime boss. She didn't want to be a mass murderer. She just wanted to, do good and keep her stupid brother out of trouble and talk to her occasional chauffeur, Oz Cobb. She was forced into Arkham because her dad framed her for murder. She was forced to kill in order to defend herself. So by the time she got out of hell, which we all call Arkham in this Batman universe, she was a killer and turned into a killer. So much so because when people called her the hangman, she bristled at it. But towards the end, she accepted it, even wiping out her entire family without even a blink, saving her niece Gia. But uh, unbeknownst to her, turning Gia into what she became. When Gia, her mother was killed by Sophia, and Gia was taken to an orphanage, and she was imprisoned, just like that through no fault of her own, just like Sophia was. So that's why Sophia was leaving at the end of the episode to go to Italy. And longtime Batman comic fans will remember the series Catwoman When in Rome, written by the same people that did The Long Halloween. In that story, Sophia Falcone and her half sister Selena Kyle got into some trouble in Italy. Maybe some of them watch in season 2. But Sophia Falcone, nee Gigante, is the only innocent in this entire series because she didn't want any of it. And just like with Oz, what happened to his brothers? He said, "What happened to your brothers, Oz?" He said, "The city took them." The city took Sophia Falcone and turned her into this.
The question was brought up earlier, and I know you want to address it, Craig. The death of his brothers, of Oz's brothers,
Yeah.
happy accident or intentional?
I
Or
think
would it have happened, better question, would it have happened eventually another way?
probably. That's why I believe it's a happy accident, and that's why I see Oz as a sociopath as opposed to a psychopath, because he locked his brothers in the pipe simply because they laughed at him. And then he left. He didn't know it was going to rain. He didn't know that he eventually knew it was going to flood, because the longer he stayed at home, he knew it was going to be worse for his brothers. And also, he knew that the brothers came back, he would not have this time with his mother that he got. So it was an instant thing that he did, just like when he killed Alberto. He laughed at him. Boom! First thing he did was laugh. And then realization, sunk in, just like he really shut the pipe on his brothers. That's what you get. Then realization sunk in. Oh, wait a minute, it's raining and they might not be able to get out. Oh, well, that's why I don't think any of that was calculated.
Let's go to you, Steph. We haven't heard from you. You think the death of his brothers, happy accident, tragedy that if he could have, he would have avoided?
I also think it was a happy accident. I don't think he thought about it beforehand. It was just like, oh, we're playing this game. I'm annoyed because they made fun of me, like Craig said. He locked him in there, and then he kind of took that opportunity. He saw it as an opportunity. Oh, wait a minute. If I just keep them in there, I have this time with my mom. And then as the rain's coming down, I think he probably knew what was going to happen. And he's like, well, that'll permanently fix this issue, and then I can have all my mom's attention all the time.
Do you think by hook or crook, some way or another, he would have excised his brothers from that relationship so that he could have his mother all to himself?
100%. I mean, he just wanted his mom, and I mean, he couldn't even do the one thing that his mom asked him to do. He killed Vic. He didn't seem like he had a very good relationship with his brothers anyway. So I think it was an eventuality that they were going to be gone at some point.
Craig, what do you think in all of this? Where does Oz Cobb fall in your pantheon of psychopath, sociopath, villains from the DC world of Batman?
I think Oz is in a psychopath sandwich because I put him firmly between the Joker and the Riddler from this past The Batman. The Joker was a calculated person who not only who just wanted, in the words of Alfred Michael Caine, just wanted to watch the world burn. He had no remorse, no empathy for killing anyone. Oz was someone who killed because someone laughed at him, because someone made fun of him. It could be his brothers, it could be his boss, it could be someone that's standing in the way of him being the best. Telling anyone tells people exactly what they want to hear. The Riddler in Matt Reeves' Batman was another calculated person who wanted to rid Gotham of, wanted to call attention to the way that Gotham treats its young, treats its poor, and another victim of the system, and wanted to show everyone, including Batman, how it should be. Even so much thinking that Batman was on his side. You brought him into the light, just like I told you. Like, we make such a great team. And then he flooded Gotham City, and
Yeah.
that's where we got the Penguin from.
Steph, when last we spoke, you were not digging on the Penguin. While you did appreciate it, you felt it was a little bit too down, too dark, and nothing that you needed in your life right now. Now that you've finished season 1, where do things stand?
I mean, I still agree with the stuff that I thought before. However, I did get more into it as the season went on, as the episodes went on. So I liked it more than I thought I was going to like it. Now that I've seen the whole thing, I loved Sophia. I loved her character. You know, when you were talking about you always have choices to make, even if all this horrific stuff happens to you in real life, in the real world. No, she should not have made those choices to annihilate everyone. However, I found immense satisfaction in watching her do it in this fictional TV show. So I loved all of it. I loved how she took out her family. She was just like, I'm done, and I'm taking it out on all of you. So I liked that aspect a lot for the show, not in real life though. So her character was great, and I did like it through the end. And if they continue a season 2, I think it's something I'll give it a shot too.
So, in a world of Batman villains, where do you place Oz Cobb, Steph?
So I placed him second behind Joker. Joker, especially in The Dark Knight, I mean, he was just so warped and twisted. Like, his sense of humor was all crazy. He's just so he was unpredictable, but he also wasn't as impulsive as Penguin was. Craig and you guys were talking about how, he gets made fun of. He immediately wants to blow your head off because he's mad about that. Joker, he really thought out his plots like to the nth degree. And that's also scary because he thinks of everything, and he's crazy. He's absolutely crazy. You just don't really know what he's going to do. So I think just the Joker being so unhinged, he put me as number 1. But yeah, Penguin, because of his impulsivity, makes him dangerous. And because of his selfishness and narcissism, he's only out for himself. So even if you feel like, oh, he's loyal to me, not really. He could turn on you too. So I think the two of them are probably the top for me.
Is the Penguin, as we see him now, any of you guys have any insight as to whether or not he will be presented as the main villain going after Batman in the next movie? Has there been any indication that this is the plan?
Yes, there is some indication because how the Penguin took place a week after the Batman. The Batman 2 apparently is going to take place, from what I've heard, not official yet by any means, but the Batman 2 will take place in winter in Gotham, where all the water that we saw from the first Batman movie, now it's all frozen.
Wow.
So that's something, the landscape that Batman has to circumvent. And he's not from what I heard, the plot line is he's not sure he wants to even be Batman because he can't save everyone. And if this turns out to be the frozen Gotham that we kind of saw in the comic No Man's Land, in that story, the Penguin ruled Gotham. No Man's Land, Gotham was just a wasteland, a post-apocalyptic. It had been shut off from the rest of the United States. The government declared it a state of emergency. So everyone, the citizens of Gotham, had to fend for themselves, and the Penguin ruled the roost. So
what was the name of that again, Craig?
Batman No Man's Land.
Okay, I always heard that was great. I never got a chance to read it. Would you recommend it?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
But we also saw that in the last Christopher Nolan movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Gotham was
Snowed out. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. By the way, for me, somehow that just plays better. Bane in a pair of Bermuda shorts, it just wouldn't be as threatening if that guy there was wearing shorts and a Hawaiian shirt with a mocktail in one hand. Well, that'll do it for this episode. We would love to hear what you think. How does Oz Cobb rank in the list of Batman villains? Comment below, and we promise to get back to you. And as always, we thank you so much for your checking us out. We ask you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell if you're so inclined. And we'd love to get some feedback going. We're in a good time for this sort of stuff, and we want you to be a part of it with us. So until next time, bye-bye.